Namaste Gurukhulians. Hope that you all are doing well at your home and using your time constructively. As in my previous video, we started a new chapter from your book Moments, and the name of the chapter is Ishwaran the Storyteller, written by R.K. Lakshman. And in my previous video, we did the introduction of the author. I introduced you the characters of the story, and we read some part of the chapter, right? So in this video we will read the rest part of the chapter, and before that let me revise you the story of Ishwaran the Storyteller. As you know that Ishwaran is a cook by profession, but by passion he is a storyteller, and he lived with his master Mahendra, who is a junior supervisor in a firm, and that firm hires junior supervisors for different sites, right? And Ishwar did his household chores like washing clothes, cooking food and other things, and in the evening when Mahendra came back from his work, he used to tell him stories about his childhood and some ghost stories and stories about other things. And Mahendra is quite interested in his stories, and he listened his story uncritically, as he knew sometimes that his stories are not real, but even then he never criticized him. He listened his stories with a great interest, right? So, and this story about Ishwaran has been told by Mahendra to Ganesh, right? This story has been told by Mahendra to Ganesh, right? So without wasting time, let's start reading the rest part of the chapter, right? So in this para, Mahendra recollected a story told by Ishwaran about his childhood, right? So, let's start. The place I come from is famous for timber. Ishwaran would begin, and once Ishwaran told Mahendra a story about his childhood, about his native place. So, Ishwaran said that his place was famous for timber. Timber means wood. Right? His place was famous for wood, and there is a richly wooded forest all around, and his nearby his native village there was a dense forest. His village was covered with forest, right? The logs are hauled onto the lorries by elephants, and the wood was transported, hauled is transported. The wood was transported by lorries which were pulled by elephants, right? So they are huge, well-fed beasts, and as you know that elephants are huge creatures. When they turn wild, even the most experienced mahout is not able to control them. And Ishwaran told that when a tusker got mad, when an elephant got mad, it can't be handled even by a mahout. Mahout means a person who rides or tanks elephants, right? So, according to him, to handle a mad tusker isn't an easy task. After this prologue, Ishwaran would launch into an elaborate anecdote involving an elephant. So it was the introduction. As I told you that Ishwaran rated even a small or minor incident in detail, right? So it was the introduction, and then he started an anecdote that was related to his childhood. As I told you, anecdote means story about real event. So, to make his story interesting, he gave an introduction introduction first, right? So one day a tusker escaped from the timber yard and began to roam about, stamping on bushes, tearing up wild creepers and breaking branches at will. And now he started the story, and as it was an interesting story about a tusker who got mad. So a tusker escaped, a tusker ran away from timber yard, and then he started move here and there, and he tore up wild bushes, creepers, and he broke all the branches of the tree that came in her path, in its path. You know, sir, how an elephant behaves when it goes mad. And then he asked Mahendra whether he knew that how a mad tusker behaved, right? Ishwar would get so caught up in the excitement of his own story that he would get up from the floor and jump about, stamping his feet in emulation of the mad elephant. And then Ishwar started using his bodily gesture. He started jumping up and down, and he was behaving like a mad tusker. As I told you that he used his body language and his face expression to make his stories realistic, and he started emulation of a mad tusker. Emulation means imitation. Emulation means to copy, right, or to imitate. So he started to copy the mad tusker. He started behaving like a mad tusker to make his story realistic. The elephant reached the outskirts of the town, breaking the fences down like matchsticks. He would continue, and the elephant then reached the outskirt. Outskirt means outer area of the city, outer area of the town, and it broke all the fences like matchsticks. He would continue. It came in the main road and smashed all the stalls selling fruits, mud pots and clothes. And then he came on the main road. And there he did a lot of destruction, like he broke all the stalls of fruits and vegetables. He broke all the mud pots and clothes, right? People ran helter-skelter in panic, and people were running here and there. Helter-skelter means running here and there. Helter-skelter. Here and there. So people were running here and there in panic. They were afraid. They were frightened. The elephant now entered a school ground where children were playing, breaking through the brick wall. And then at last that elephant, that mad tusker, entered in a school where children were playing in the ground, and that elephant entered in the school by breaking a wall. All the boys ran into the classroom and shut the door. All the children were frightened, and they entered in a room and they shut the door tightly. The beast grunted and wandered about, pulling out the football goalpost, tearing down the volleyball net, kicking and flattening the drum kept for water, and uprooting the shrubs. And even in the school, he made a lot of destruction, like he broke all the football post. He tore up all the volleyball net, and he did a lot of destruction there. Meanwhile, all the teachers had climbed up the terrace of the school building. From there, they helplessly watched the depredation of the elephant. And in this time, meanwhile, all the teachers went to the rooftop, and from there they were watching all the scenario, all the destruction, depredation. Depredation means destruction. And from that rooftop they were watching all the scenario, all the construction made by that mad elephant. And they were helpless because they were frightened. They can't do anything, right? There was not a soul below on the ground, and there was no one on the ground. The ground was empty. All were hidden somewhere. Some were on the roof, some were on the rooftop, some were in the room. So there was none in the ground, and the streets were empty, as if the inhabitants of the entire town had suddenly disappeared, and the whole town was empty. The streets were empty because all the people were frightened, right? So I was studying in the junior class at that time, and I was watching the whole drama from the rooftop, and Ishwaran was a junior student in that school, and he was also watching all the drama made by that Tusker from the rooftop, right? I don't know what came over me suddenly. I grabbed a cane from the hands of one of the teachers and ran down the stairs and in the open. And then Ishwaran said that I don't know that what came in my mind, and I grabbed a cane. I took a cane. Cane means a stick. I took a cane from one of my teacher and ran down the stairs and into the open, and I came in the ground. The elephant grunted and menacingly swung a branch of tree which is held in its trunk, and he started approaching the elephant, and then elephant made a loud noise. He grunted. Grunted means a loud noise. Menacingly means angrily. Menacingly means angrily. Angrily, he threw a branch of tree which he had in its trunk. It stamped its feet, kicking up a lot of mud and dust. It looked frightening, and it threw a lot of mud and dust, right? And it was looking frightening. Means it was anybody can be frightened by its look, right? So, but I moved slowly towards it, stick in hand. People were watching the scene, hypnotized from nearby housetops, and all the peoples were on their rooftop, and they were hypnotized by seeing that a little child was approaching such a mad Tusker. The elephant looked at me red-eyed, ready to rush towards me. It lifted its trunk and trumpeted loudly. At that moment, I moved forward and, mustering all my force, whacked its third toenail on the quick. And then elephant was very angry. It was very angry, and it was ready to run towards Ishwaran, and it lifted its trunk and it made a loud noise, and at that moment Ishwaran moved forward to it, and he was mustering all his force. Ishwaran was mustering all his force, means he was putting together all his force. Mustering means putting together. And whacked its third toenail on the twig. And wet means hit. Then Ishwaran hit on its third toenail quickly, and the beast looked stunned for a moment. Then it shivered from head to foot and collapsed. And the beast was very surprised that what happened to it. It was very surprised that what happened to it, and it started shivering and fell faint, and it was fainted, then it fell, sorry. At this moment, at this point, Ishwan would leave the story unfinished and get up mumbling, and there Ishwan leave that story uncompleted. He wanted to arouse the curiosity of Mahendran, and he was mumbling that I will be back after lighting the gas and warming up the dinner. He left the story uncompleted. Mahendra, who had been listening with rapt attention, would be left hanging, and Mahendra was very fascinated. Rapt means fascinated about the story, and he was hanging in between. He wanted to know the end of the story, but Ishwan went to the kitchen by saying that I have to turn on the gas for warming up the dinner. When he returned, Ishwan would not pick up the thread of the story right away, and on returning, he would not continue the story as he wanted to arouse the curiosity of Mahendra, right? Mahendra would have to remind him that the conclusion was pending, and Mahendra himself had to remind him that the conclusion is incomplete. Please tell me the conclusion. Well, a veterinary doctor was summoned to revive the animal. Ishwan would shrug casually. 2 days later, it was led away by its mahout to the jungle, and then Ishwan told him the end of the story, that a veterinary doctor, means animal doctor, was summoned, means called. Summoned means called. And after a 2 days treatment, its mahout was called and it was took away in the jungle again, right? So, well, how did you manage to do it, Ishwaran? How did you bring down the beast? And Mahendra was curious to know that how a small boy can handle such a huge creature, such a mad creature. It has something to do with a Japanese art. I think, sir, karate or jujitsu it is called. I had read about it somewhere. It temporarily paralyzes the nervous system, you see. And then Ishwan told Mahendra that he performed a Japanese art, or you can say an art of karate or jitsu, and it temporarily paralyzed nervous system of a human or any animal. So not a day passed without Ishwan recounting some story packed with adventure, horror and suspense. And every day Ishwan had a new story, and that story was full of suspense, horror and thrill. Right? Whether the story was credible or not, Mahendra enjoyed listening to it because of the inimitable way in which it was told. And Mahendra sometimes knew very well that the stories are not real, but even then he'll listen it with a great interest because Ishwan told all the stories in a unique way. He told all the stories in a unique way. Ishwan seemed to more than make up for the absence of a TV in Mahendra's living quarter. And Ishwan was so entertaining that Mahendra never felt the lack of TV. Means Mahendra never felt the need of a TV because Ishwan's stories were so interesting, so entertaining, right? So one day morning, when Mahendra was having breakfast, Ishwan asked, "Can I make something special for dinner tonight, sir? After all, today is an auspicious day. According to tradition, we prepare various delicacies to feed the spirit of our ancestors today, sir." And then one day when Mahendra was taking his breakfast, he was eating his breakfast, Ishwan came to him and asked, and he took the permission to make a special dinner for that day, because according to him on that day they made good food, they made delicious food there for their ancestors, spirits, right? So that night, Mahendra enjoyed the most delicious dinner and complimented Ishwan on his culinary skills. And that night, Ishwan made a good food, a very tasty, delicious food, and even Mahendra complimented on his culinary skills. Culinary skills means cooking skills. Culinary skills means cooking skills. Means cooking skills, right? He seemed very pleased, but unexpectedly launched into a most garish account involving the supernatural, and all of a sudden, Ishwan started narrating a story about supernatural things and ghosts. You know, sir, this entire factory area we are occupying was once a burial ground. He started. Mahendra was jerked out of the pleasant reverie he had drifted into after the satisfying meal. And Ishwan said to Mahendra that the site where they are living once was a burial place. Once was a burial place. Burial place means where dead bodies are buried, right? So Mahendra was jugged. He was very frightened after. He was very frightened out of the pleasant reverie. Reverie means daydreaming. After so delicious food, after eating so delicious food, he got jerked, right? So I knew on the first day itself when I saw a human skull laying on the path. He continued and he told Mahendra that on the very first day itself he had seen a human skull, and many times he has seen skulls and bones in the way. Ishwan continued. He went on to narrate how he sometimes saw ghosts at night, and then he told Mahendra that he has seen ghosts many times. I am not easily frightened by these things, sir. I am a brave fellow, but one horrible ghost of a woman which appears off and on at midnight during the full moon. It is an ugly creature with matted hair and shrivelled face like a skeleton holding a fetus in its arm. And then he continued and he said that I am not afraid of ghosts and anything, but I have seen a very threatening, a very frightening ghost of a woman, and that appears on the full moon, and that appears at 12 o'clock on the day of full moon, at the night of full moon, and it is an ugly creature and it has matted hair and its face is shrunken and wrinkled, right? And it is like a skeleton holding a fetus. Fetus means unborn baby, right? Fetus means unborn baby. Very frightening, and Mahendra was frightened at that time. Mahendra shivered at the description and interrupted rather sharply. You are crazy, Ishwan. There are no such things as ghost and spirit. It is all figment of your imagination. Then Mahendra interrupted Ishwan that there is nothing like ghost in the world, and I think it is your imagination or nothing else. Get your digestive system examined and maybe your head as well. You are talking nonsense. And in order to get him stopped, he asked him to go for a checkup of his digestive system and for his head. Why did he say so? He said so because Mahendra thought that when a person is suffering from constipation, his mind doesn't work well. His mind doesn't work well. So he asked him to go for a checkup of his digestive system as well as his mind, because he was talking nonsense. He was saying nonsense things, right? He left the room and retired for night, expecting Ishwan to sulk for a couple of days, but the next time he was surprised to find the cook as cheerful and talkative as ever. And at that night he got angry on Ishwan, and he was thinking that Ishwan would stay sulk. Sulk means silent. Would stay silent for 3 or 4 days, but when the next day he woke up, and he was surprised to see that Ishwan was as talkative as he was ever, right? So from that day on Mahendra, for all his brave talk, went to bed with a certain unease. As Mahendra was saying that he was very brave, but he showed that he was very brave, but on the contrary, he was uneasy because of the story of Ishwan, because of the story that Ishwan told him that night. Every night he peered in the darkness outside through the window next to his bed, trying to make sure that there was no movement of the dark shapes in the vicinity. And every night he peeped in the darkness to make him sure, to assure himself that there is no ghost outside, there is no ghost nearby him. Vicinity means nearby. As he showed that he was very brave, but he was not brave. He was frightened by the story that Ishwan told him, but he could only see a sea of darkness with the twinkling lights of the factory miles away. He had always liked to admire the milk-white landscape on the full moon nights, but after hearing Ishwan's story of the female ghost, he avoided looking out of his window altogether when the moon was full. Before listening the story, Mahendra liked to admire the milk-white landscape on the full moon night, but after that day he started frightening. And one night Mahendra was woken up from his sleep by a low moon close to his window, and that night was the night of full moon, right? That night was the night of full moon, and on that day the ghost of that woman appeared, right? So Mahendra was woken up from his sleep by a low moon close to his window. Then Mahendra woke up by hearing a low cry from his nearby window. At first he put it down to a cat prowling around for mice, but the sound was too guttural from a cat. First of all, he thought that it was a crying sound of a cat, and that is searching mice, but the sound was too guttural, too harsh. He resisted his curiosity to look out, lest he should behold a sight which would stop his heart. First of all, he thought that he would check if it is a cat or anything else, but he was afraid, and but the wailing became louder and less feline, he could not resist the temptation anymore. Lowering himself to the level of the window sill, he looked out at the white sheet of the moonlight outside. Right? The sound became more harsh and seems to be a human sound, right? Mahendra wanted to peep out the window, but he was afraid that if he saw a ghost, he would even die, and he could not stop himself, so he bent down and saw outside, right? He bent down and saw outside, and it was moonlight outside. There not far away was a dark cloudy form clutching a bundle, and then finally he saw the ghost of that woman who was carrying a fetus in her hand, right? Mahendra broke into a cold sweat and fell back on the pillow, panting. As he gradually recovered from the ghastly experience, he began to reason with himself and finally concluded that it must have been some sort of auto-suggestion, some trick that his subconscious had played on him. And finally he saw that ghost, and he was very frightened and afraid, and he broke out in cold sweat and fell on his pillow. And then after coming to his bed, he thought that it was nothing. It was not a ghost, but it was a trick played by his subconscious, unconscious mind, right? So even now he was not believing that there was a ghost outside the window, but he was thinking that it was a trick played by his unconscious mind, subconscious mind. By the time he had got up in the morning, had a bath and come out to have his breakfast, the horror of the previous night had faded from his memory, and he mostly forgot about that incident, the last night's incident. And by the time he woke up in the morning and he took his breakfast, and he came out to take his lunch bag, and Ishwan greeted him at the door with his lunch packet and his bag. Just as Mahendra was stepping out, Ishwan grinned and said, "Sir, remember the other day when I was telling you about a female ghost with a fetus in his arms? You were so angry with me for imagining things. Well, you saw her yourself last night. I came running hearing the sound of moaning that was coming from your room." And then when he was going to his office, Ishwan came to him and reminded him the story of that ghost. He reminded that you were interrupting me. You got angry by hearing that story of woman ghost, and now you yourself saw that ghost last night. And then a chill went down Mahendra's spine, and again Mahendra got frightened. He did not wait for Ishwan to complete his sentence. He hurried away to his office and handed in his papers, resolving to leave the haunted place the very next day. And he was very frightened, and then in a hurry he went to his office and submit the papers of his you can say transfer, and he submit the paper for his transfer. And the story ended here. He had decided to leave that haunted place, that ghostly place. So the story ended here. So my dear student, it was the skill of Ishwan's storytelling that made Mahendra to believe in ghost. We don't know that there was really a ghost or not, but Ishwan played a trick on him, as his mind was not ready to believe in ghosts, but even then he saw a ghost. Mahendra saw a ghost, and we are not sure that it was really a ghost or not, but by this story we came to know that Ishwan's storytelling was so realistic that anyone can believe in his story. So I think this is all for today, and in my next video we will discuss the theme and the character sketches of the story. So till then, stay home, stay safe. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.